Today we're going to answer the question, how much money does an aesthetic nurse make? That is the question that a lot of people that want to get into aesthetic nursing want to know. The first is like, how do I become an aesthetic nurse? But then right after that, like, I know you guys want to know this, but only the few will ask, how much money does an aesthetic nurse make? My goal for this video is that it really helps you understand about negotiating and how much money you'll make and what you're negotiating with and for, what your value is and how much money you can make and ask, and what are the people next door making. So I think when you know that, then you can compare where your contract is coming in. So I hope this video helps. So I want to let you know that this video is based on my own opinions and the things that I have seen being an aesthetic nurse for 14 years. I've seen a lot, so I would like to share it with you. I definitely make it a point that whenever I go to any seminars or classes or meet any other aesthetic nurse, I always ask them about the latest trends, what's going on in the business, and definitely about pay, because we need to be informed so that we know when we're negotiating for ourselves. So I can tell you that in general, from state to state and area to area, the pay will differ. So for example, if you are in a state where the nurses already make a lower hourly rate, then you can expect to make a lower hourly rate if you're an aesthetic nurse. And if you're in a state where the nurses make a higher hourly rate, well, you can expect to make a higher hourly rate. But remember, aesthetic nurses have a lot of possibility to make money because we do percent pay, we do commissions, we do a lot of other pay methods. So just because you come from a state where the hourly is low, don't think that you can't make some money working as an aesthetic nurse. And also area to area. So that's what I mean by that is if you are working at a place and they're doing like really low price procedures, their profit margins are lower and the price of the procedure is lower. So if you're getting percent pay there, you're not going to make as much as someone who's charging more for that service. Different parts of town where I live definitely charge different. So keep that in mind when you're kind of looking for a job and it's like, what feels good to you? Remember, it's not going to be always about the money, but what is best for your lifestyle. So there's a lot to take into consideration. Let's talk about it. Commissions as an aesthetic nurse can happen. I think the norm I've seen is about 10%, and then I've seen some offices that don't give any at all, but in general I would say it's 10%, maybe even a little bit lower when you're selling products. But what I mean by commission is that if you are, let's say you're doing a treatment. I'm not a salesperson at all, so I definitely didn't get into aesthetic nursing for sales, but when I was doing a treatment and I'm infusing some vitamin C or using some hyaluronic acid, and then the clients ask about it and they want to buy it, and you know it's a good product, it is nice to get that commission for sure. And when you get your paycheck, it adds up. So let's say you sold a cream for $100 and you made $10. That doesn't sound like that much money, but once you sold 10 of them, 20 of them, 30 of them, it definitely adds up. So remember, commissions can happen, and when you're negotiating your contract, ask about them. And if they don't offer them, but you get a great percent pay or the benefits are great, then those are all things you have to take into consideration. Hourly. There are some aesthetic nurses that just make a straight hourly pay, and that's fine and that's wonderful. And if that's what you like, go for it. Remember, you're going to take all the different pay structures into consideration. But I have seen this a lot where you start off and sometimes they start you off strictly at percent pay, which is nice. But if you didn't sell a lot that day because you don't have clients, then you're going to end up with a very small paycheck, but you are learning, so that's good. But if you're paid hourly, then you know that at least you're getting money every hour that you're there, and then it really helps out with your bills or however you need the money. I don't know. But think about that when you're negotiating your pay. So hourly pay, it's not going to be the same as the hospitals, and it is going to vary again from state to state, area to area. So if you are in a state that pays less, it's going to pay less. And if you're in a state that pays more, it's going to pay more. But the hospitals do make more money because remember we talked about the big budget. So it's the same thing in hourly pay in a small office. My favorite is when you're paid percent pay or hourly. So that means they're giving you, I've seen as low as 30 and then 40, 50, even more sometimes. So if you're getting the hourly, so they might say it's hourly or percent pay, whichever is higher. So if you didn't see any clients, you got the hourly wage for the day. And then if you ended up seeing 6 clients and you made more money percent, then they pay you the percent way. Remember that certain states aren't allowed to pay commissions or percent pay, so you will get it in the form of a bonus. But at the end of the day, it ends up being percent pay. So whether they call it bonus or percent pay, it's pretty much the same, very similar. So remember, take that into consideration when you are negotiating. How are you going to get that percent pay, the hourly wage, the commissions? I think the best is when you are getting obviously you're making a high percentage of these big ticket items, and then you're making commission because you're selling products and the clients keep coming in for more products, and then you get benefits. So if you have all that, that's pretty good. Percent pay. So percent pay is exactly what it sounds like. You get paid a percent of the procedure. When you're in aesthetic nursing, percent pay is very commonly seen, and there are some states where you cannot pay a percentage to the nurse, but you will get paid like a bonus, so an hourly and a bonus or a bonus pay, but at the end of the day it ends up being percent pay. And then percent pay goes 2 ways. It's percent pay net profit and then straight percent pay. And it is critical that you understand the difference, because this got me in the beginning. When I first started working, I didn't understand and I was eager to take the job. So I settled for less than I should have, but then I got stuck there for a while because I agreed to it. So before you go to accept the job, make sure you understand this. So straight percent pay means that you are going to get a percentage of the service that you gave. So I've seen the nurses, remember, 10%, and then the NPs more like a 15%. So if you are doing a service for $1,000 and you're getting straight percent pay and you got 10%, that's $100. And if it's 15, then it's $150. But remember that it's always going to vary on your experience and what you do, not more than your title. So you are never limited to the title that you have. You're only limited to your ability to be an aesthetic nurse that people want to see and continue to see month in and month out, because that's what's going to help you, because you have a steady income flow. Okay, and then net profit. So if you're getting net profit, that means you're getting a percentage of the net profit, what the business brought in after they deducted their expenses. So for example, let's say you did a lip filler and you charge $600, but the company purchased the lip filler for $300. So when they're doing your percent pay, it's not going to be off the $600, it's going to be off the $300, because that's how much money was left after they took out the lip filler. It's important that you really understand the difference between percent pay and percent pay with net profit. And I want to let you know that doing 2 syringes on a client is very common. So $1,200 for a client to come in and see you will happen all the time. So if you're getting 10% of that, that's great. That's going to be $120 for that hour. And if you're getting more, even better. But if you're doing it and they're taking out all this, expenses for the office, the rent and all this, then your money's like going down, down, down. So make sure that you take all this into consideration when you're talking about percent pay. I've included some stats on the country, the pay for aesthetic nurses in the country. And when you look at it, you see the huge difference. It literally goes like this. And that's because of everything that we talked about, state to state, area to area, experience, if you're making commission, if you're making commission and hourly, if you're making percent pay, it takes all that into consideration. So it's really hard when you look at it, and I can see why everyone's confused to figure out exactly how much does an aesthetic nurse make. So I hope that this video did help you. If you learn of a different pay structure or any other thing that you want to share with me, I would love to know. So please feel free to email me or message me, and I will personally get back to you. Thank you. Benefits. I really think that if we're going to talk about pay, we need to talk about benefits. So, aesthetic nursing and benefits. When I worked in the hospital, I had amazing benefits. I had paid time off, I had sick leave, I had education. It was awesome. But in aesthetic nursing, unfortunately, you don't make the best benefits. Truth be told, you are better off in the hospital for benefits than you are in a private office or a smaller business. You all know that the bigger the business, the bigger the benefits, right? Well, that's not the case here, because most of the offices are going to be smaller, and even the big rejuvenation clinics are not as big as a hospital, no way. So you really need to take that into consideration. If the benefits are critical to you, this might not be the best field for that. If you are making awesome money and your employer is paying half your insurance and you're paying half, but you're making so much money that it's worth it, then yay. If you have no benefits at all, the job doesn't offer any benefits, and you don't have any benefits anywhere else and you really need them, then you might want to go into aesthetic nursing as kind of a part-time and ease into it. Once you have clients, then switch over to full-time, because you can get the benefits somewhere else. So remember that. We don't get the best benefits. It is what it is. You're lucky if you find a place that gives you the 401k, the paid time off, educational, the vacation. Then those are the better jobs for sure for benefits. But it might not be the best clinical situation for you. So remember, we talk about negotiating. When you're negotiating, take that into consideration. Like, wow, they're paying me a lot. They're offering me a high percentage, but they're not giving me benefits. And if they're giving you like low hourly, no benefits, is it worth it? If you need training and you need to learn, then it is. If you don't, if you've been injecting for 5 years and you're this very experienced nurse, that's not going to be for you. Negotiate a better deal.